With the Bondi massacre, I've suddenly got more interested in politics, particularly the background of our so-called leaders. Albanese's response to the massacre was not good at all, to put it mildly. So I inquired into his background. Minns's response wasn't any better, really. When you inquire into both backgrounds, you find they've almost exclusively worked for the Labour machine, the Labour Party, or as staffers. I can't recall all their affiliations in a technical sense, but both of them have not had real jobs for any length of time. So we've employed people or elected people as head of the government when they've never really worked in a substantial job, such as a teacher, lawyer, bricklayer, candlestick maker, you name it. They've just not done it. They've not run any organisations. They've not started up any business. They've just been part of the Labour Party, apparatchik. This is not good at all. You can't get any insight in what it's like to be an ordinary person in any kind of depth unless you've done something substantial in your work life. They've done virtually nothing. They've just sat inside the Labour Party and worked their way up the greasy pole. Now, Albanese's response to the massacre at Bondi is appalling. Who's pulling the strings, or are they just dumb? I've worked in that region as a teacher, and the big problems were with some groups, and they match what's happened. We could see this situation as a time bomb ticking away. I worked at Granville, Bankstown, and Liverpool. Now, that didn't mean I expected a massacre, but certain groups had problems. So what we've got are leaders in the Labour Party, and I've been a Labour voter, by the way, who just don't understand the world. Now, no one can work in all the jobs and then become Prime Minister, but if you worked in no substantial job outside the Labour Party, that's a problem. That was true of Andrews in Victoria. Now, these people aren't unintelligent, but you can't be intelligent if you haven't had any experience in what you're talking about. So what's the solution? The solution in Rome, way back under the Republic, was no one could be top dog before the age of 40. As a teacher in TAFE, I had to have at least 5 years' experience in a work life, as opposed to doing a teaching course. I had to have 5 years' experience in the field that I wanted to teach in. Otherwise, I couldn't get a job as a teacher in TAFE. So these people, they haven't been in real life, and yet they're managing the lives of other people. Not good at all. I think we need to revise the qualifications for politicians. If you want to become a doctor, you've got to do a course, and then you've got to do practical. Politicians don't have any clearly defined career path. Anyone can become Prime Minister. Anyone can become Premier. And in some ways that's good. We don't want rigid, absolutely unshakable, unalterable rules. But we do have to have some, and we do have to have guidelines. And the press, the media, is really to blame for not giving backgrounds to these candidates. I mean, this is a crime. Now, for Albanese to state that he's now going to put bigger restrictions on speech and bigger restrictions on guns is to miss the real situation. What they're doing is managing their next election. They're more concerned about getting elected than having good policies. Now, good policies aren't necessarily what the public wants. Just like with children. Children want to eat ice cream and sweets all the time. That's what they want. That's what's popular with them. But you can't let them have that. And it's the same with government. So we've got to do something about this blandness, this wish to stay in power at any cost, even the cost of the nation. Now, I believe that good, strong policy will touch a responsive nerve in the public, and that would get them into power. It's going to be interesting to see what Nigel Farage, with his Reform Party, achieves in Britain. He's likely to get elected, some people say, and whether he can carry through and get things done to bring the country back on track is important. But let's not kid ourselves. Bringing 1 million people in, or actually 1.4 million people in 2 years into Australia, not a great idea, even if they're the best people in the world. You put so much strain on housing, education and hospitals that it's just not a sensible thing to do. Okay, you've got more workers and you collect more tax. That's about all it does. GDP per individual has actually gone down. Boy, I can be criticised for not being an activist and just talking too much and being a teacher, expecting good people would do the right thing. But good people can't do the right thing if they've never worked in a real job, never had real experience. I don't care what university degrees they've got. They need the challenge of making something work as a business person or even as a top public servant, not just as a staffer. I've got 5 degrees, but I don't think that qualifies me to run the country just because I can pass university courses. It's important to learn about things broadly, but experience is super important too. It's probably more important than the degrees. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.